Hey everybody, it's January 2023. Let's go over my Staten Island state of the market. So this is something I've been sending out for the last 6 months or so via email. I never actually recorded a video explaining it. I just put the slides, the one that you see here. I always include the prior 2 months up to where we are now. So obviously we're in January 2023. So we're gonna go over December and November 2022. So I put the previous 2 months, and then for those months I put their stats from the previous year. So we're going to see kind of like a hyper focus on where we immediately are in the market, and then there's a, let's compare it to last year as well, so we get more of a general, more of a broad picture of the overall market. So let's get into it. Well, since this is my first time doing the video, I'll keep it short, sweet. We'll just go over these 2 slides, but I'll definitely be adding more information and going more in depth as we fine-tune this and go along. Like I said, the first time recording it, so let's see how it goes. Just trying to get you guys as much info as possible. So, let's go with last month, December 2022. The average sold price on Staten Island MLS residential properties, $646,000. Last December, $649,000. So that's pretty similar. Now December is typically a down month. There's not many closings in December. There is, but a lot of the time people will. You have leading right up to Christmas, New Year's. They're going to push it off to January. So my prediction, we'll see a lot more closings this month. All right, because if you look here at the bottom, sold 316. Which that's in tune with the market. That's not like a crazy down number, but you definitely do push a lot off to January. The ones that can't be like, all right, let's get it done before Christmas. If that can't be the case, January it is. So anyway, $646 is our average price. Our average discount is showing what's going on in the market right now. 9% discount. So, that's pretty hefty considering, look at last December, your average discount. Now, when I say discount, I mean the price that the house was originally listed for and the price that it sold for. So, what's the percentage that it sold for in accordance to what it was listed for. So, on average, it's about 9% less. Now, go back, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, right? February, March, April of 22. I mean, that was like 1%, if even anything, because houses were selling above, at or above asking. So, a 9% discount, that's showing that it's good for buyers to be buying houses right now. You don't have to look at a property for sale and say, okay, they're asking $650. Okay, what am I offering? $700, $715. It's not the case. You don't even. Again, it depends on a million factors, but you don't have to look at most properties on the MLS and say, okay, I'm starting at asking. It's things are changing. Average price per square foot, $465. It's a pretty good number for Staten Island. Last year it was $486. So average days on market, 20. So that's now average days on market as an active property before it flips over into acceptance is 20. So that's pretty good. That's indicative of the seller's market that it's been. Right? Because last December it was 73 days. So last December you can expect your house to sit on the market for 2.5 months until you had that offer that you finally accepted. Now it's less than 3 weeks. And it's showing. So you have clashing numbers here, right? You have this hefty average discount of 9%, and then you have average days on market 20. So it's showing that it's like, is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? It's indicative of the crazy time that we're going through right now so look at the supply, right? So let me move my face. So you see available as of December, right? 1,041 houses are available for sale. 316 were sold. Now when you divide the two, you come up with 3.3. That's the supply. So that's just a way to measure the overall status of the market. So you divide the available by the sold, that gives you, like I said, 3.3. So that's telling us that there's right now 3.3 months worth of inventory, right? Because if we sold 316 this month, it would take us 3 months. If no new houses were added to the market, it would take us 3 months or so to sell out the current inventory. Now, what does that tell us? With the supply number, anything at about 6 months or more, that's a buyer's market. That means there's a lot more supply than demand. When you get below 6 months, you start falling into the seller's market. That means there's not enough supply to withhold demand. So we're in a strong seller's market if it's 3.3, right? And it is. We are still in a seller's market. We are still lacking in inventory. What threw everything off the last couple of months was rates doubled. I mean, so you still had no inventory, but now you're shaking the buyers out of the tree as well. You lost a huge percentage of buyers, but that doesn't change the fact that we still don't have as much inventory. So, this, in all intents and purposes, it's showing us we're in a seller's market, right? 20 days on market, 3.3 as a supply. Now, just to put some perspective into that number, last, March, April, May, when things were like really, really, really crazy, no supply, no, crazy demand, that number was in the ones and twos. Whereas, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that would be 6, 7, 8. So we're in a seller's market, but it's showing us that we are in the seller's market, but 9% discount, buyers are more cautious. Buyers don't have that crazy ability to just give me anything. You have to be more budget conscious because the rates are 5 and 6 and 7%. So, this is, again, December. Let's go over November just so we see how the trend was, right? Okay, November of 2022. Let me move my face. Average price, $693. That's more in tune with where the numbers have been. A year or more ago, the average price was like the low 600s. It started to go up, go up, go up. It made its way to the mid, to the upper. A couple months ago, the average price was in the 7s. I think at the peak, I think July was the peak because figure a house closing in July was listed in March, April at the peak. So the average price of houses sold in July was like $749 or something insane like that. So anyway, that's cooled off, but $693 is more in tune of where it's been. Where look at last November, $643. You see the jump. This is showing how crazy 2022 was. Average discount, more in tune with normalcy, 5.3%. Again, a couple months ago that would have been like 1%. 2 years ago that would have been like 9-10%, but 5.3. That's showing right where we are. Again, still a seller's market, but the buyers are not as crazy, not as desperate, right? And then last November it was 3.5%. And don't forget, last November rates were like 2.5% still. Average price per square foot, $457. Last November, $487. So days on market, 44 as an average. That's pretty good. A month and a half. That's still showing. Yeah, it's a seller's market. This being 44 and December being 20. That is a far ways off. I mean, it's about 3 weeks off from each other, but they're within that same bracket of a month to a month and a half. Whereas look at last November, 75, right? And what was last December? 73. So it was 2.5 months or so last year. And then the available and the sold leads to a supply of just about the same, 3.27, right? And we were at 3.3 with December, so it's bouncing between 3 and 4 over the last couple months, our supply. So we're still in a seller's market. So that's where we are as far as November and December 2022 in residential Staten Island sales. 2023, we're going to obviously check back in February, and we'll go over January and December's months and how they compare to each other and which way it's showing that the trend is going. Predictions. Listen, nobody has a crystal ball. I can say 100 things and it can go completely the other way. It could go the way I went. It doesn't really matter, but listen, rates are staying pretty steady. So, I don't see, it's not like they're doubling and tripling every month like a couple months ago. So, For January, I don't see this jumping too much. We'll probably have more sold activity. Like I said, just all those December listings get pushed into January usually. But then we will probably see more available because the spring market, even though it's January and we haven't even began our winter yet, right? It hasn't even snowed yet. We haven't even hit our freezing, 15, 10 degree days yet. The spring market pretty much starts ramping up around the end of January, when everyone starts shaking off the holidays and shaking off the rust of just being cooped up in the house. And then houses listed in January, you could figure on average they'll close around March, April. So spring market starts the end of this month. So my predictions, we'll see an uptick in available, we'll see an uptick in sold. They'll probably stay in line, probably keep the supply about the same. Unless we had a crazy January, we'll see. We'll see what changes. But I see things for the most part staying the same. Average price, I could see that upticking a little bit too, going back to more of that upper 600s. But we'll see. But the data right now is showing us great time to buy again, and still a good time to sell. So, that's that. That's the state of the market for Staten Island as of January 2023. And thank you. I'll see you guys next month.